the eviction in a few weeks ago. Tax return time comes, and we get this a lot this time of year. February, March, April. These folks are getting their tax returns, and they get caught up. I was banking on that because I had nothing else to lose. And lo and behold, she came through and she paid all the way up through March, and it's just not even the end of February yet. So I know just from experience and gut when I need to work with a tenant. But in most cases, we don't do that. What we'll do is we start the eviction right away within 3 weeks. Like if it's February 1st and they're not paid, and we give them a call and we try to work out something with them, they're not responsive, they don't set up any sort of payment plan, then we're starting the eviction at the end of the month. Okay? Within 10 days, typically 10 days, depending on which magistrate you're dealing with, you'll have a court hearing. On that day, we'll typically win. The tenant has 10 days to appeal. Since PA has made the laws a lot easier for the tenant to appeal, we get a lot more appeals now, but not as many as you think, but a lot more than we used to. So if the tenant appeals, then that delays things for another few months, and it has to go to an appeal court that's in the county courthouse.
Wow.
During that process, the tenant has to make payments to the court for the rent. Current rent, not past due rent.
Okay.
It used to be that they'd have to pay all their past due rent in an escrow with the court. They don't have to do that anymore. They just have to pay rent currently. And you have to monitor as an owner or property manager if they're paying their rent to the court. If they're not paying their rent, then you have to file some sort of another thing that I don't even know what it is, but you have to file something that says, hey, this isn't fair. The tenant's not paying the rent like they were supposed to.
Right.
It's BS.
A lot of paperwork, a lot of hoops to
jump
through, basically.
And it's all on the landlord. It falls all back on you or the property manager. So that's why it's important to start those evictions sooner than later and not work with people. But like I said, depending on the situation, the time of year, the condition of the property, sometimes you'll work with a tenant and it has nothing to do with tenant-landlord relationship. It has to do with your finances. So like, let's say you just can't afford to have that. You can't afford to do the repairs in the house. We have landlords like this too. They can't afford it. They just get what you can get. We got tenants that are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars behind. Months and months and months and months behind. Never going to get caught up. The landlord's like, well, if they move out, I got $30,000 of rehab there. So just leave them in there. Those are clients that we end up just giving back. Says I can't, because that's a ticking time bomb. That's something bad's going to happen. Roof's going to cave in. Who knows? The house is just not conducive to good property management.
Plus, I remember you mentioning before too, if a house goes vacant in the wintertime, you're worrying about frozen pipes, and then you're worrying about, like you mentioned the heating, but do you leave the heating on and off? This, so, and especially with the winter that we just had, compared to what our winters have been, this would have been a rough year for.
Yeah, exactly. And when a tenant's not paying, you still have to provide them a good quality house to live in. Mm-hmm. So if the tenant's not paying and their heat goes out, you have to fix their heat. So when a landlord says, hey, I'm not fixing their heat, they're not paying, well, guess what? We're not managing your property either because we're breaking the law. So that's the side of once you get a tenant in, what you need to do to make sure that the tenant's paying. If they're not, go through the proper protocol and legal procedures to get rid of them. And then, once they're out, then you assess the situation, what you're going to do with the property at that point. But that's just part of what we do behind the scenes that most property owners don't understand, who are new to the business, who haven't owned rental property. You can own a couple duplexes in a single family home in a decent area and never, ever in your lifetime deal with the stuff we deal with on a regular basis. But doing this for as long as we have, since 2002,
the volume that you guys
and
have
the volume that we have, we've seen so many different scenarios that we're cognizant of all the pitfalls and hurdles and the pros and cons and where you can bend the rules and where you can't. And that's why we have to be real careful on who we bring on as a client and who we bring on as a tenant.
Right.
you know?
Right.
So the property has to be decent, the client has to be reasonable and have expectations that can be met, and then the tenants we put in, we have to do our best to screen them. And then the rest is just up to, the chips fall where they may. That's what it boils down to.
So now, is this something that, over time, because you have a lot of experience with this, and to anybody out there that might just be getting into landlording, or even, not even necessarily landlording, if we're starting to get any kind of property management, guess the best way of saying this is, and what I keep hearing, is patience, patience, patience. You gotta have it, or else you better get out.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You gotta have patience. You gotta have a
even temperament, it seems.
Yeah, you do. No, you do. Yeah. Because sometimes I take it personal, and you really can't. It's just bad. So yeah, you have patience. You have to have a safety net as far as financially. Like worst case scenario, you got some money set aside, and you have to have some sort of resistance to, risk and stress, because there's some risk and some stress involved in owning residential property. Properties where you're renting them to people and their families.
Right. There you go.
I hope this is helpful to some of our clients or new clients that may want to come on board. Like, give you an insight of what MACE Property Management does and what it's all about. Even if you're not hiring us as your property management company, what being a property manager involves when you have a problem tenant. Yep. And what are the steps to get, work it out or get rid of that tenant as quickly as possible.
And I think another nice thing to hammer home too is that, when we said problem tenants, I'm sure everybody assumed that we meant the tenants themselves, when a lot of times, that could be it. But like you said, it could be the property itself. It could be just a backlog of money. It's not necessarily always the tenant that's the problem. There's a myriad of things, but more often than not, it's the tenant. So, but that's why we labeled it this way, guys, ladies and gentlemen at home. So, Mr. Deacon.
Yes, sir.
What else do we have?
That's it, my man. We'll be doing some more property management. We've done 3 so far.
Yep.
There are way more topics we can cover. Maybe we'll go into some other ones. We'll probably get a dozen of these up on our site, so this will be helpful, like I said, to our potential clients for MACE, and it'll be helpful to our investors who want to learn a little bit about property management and help them decide, do they want to do this on their own or hire a management company? And if they do want to hire a management company, what questions should they be asking the management company, because they're more educated? So the more educated you are, the better questions you can ask, the better decisions you can make on who you choose to hire as your CPA or your attorney or your plumber or your contractor or your property management
Start
company.
to build that team that we always talk about.
Yeah, so again, you're always learning based, always learning. The more knowledge you have, the better questions you can ask, the better decisions you can make, the more money you can make, and the happier you will be.
Mr. Deacon, you are a wonder and a gem, and we appreciate you, sir.
Oh, please. Thank you, Adam.
As an Alex, thank you for your time. We know that time is money, and we greatly appreciate you taking. Every time we do a one that's a little bit longer, we do appreciate that, and I know the people at home do too. Guys, if you obviously you're listening to us, check us out. MACE Property Management online. What was that? What was the website for MACE Property Management?
Our website is PittsburghPropertyManagement.com.
There you go. So PittsburghPropertyManagement.com. You can also find us at DHREA.com. That's Deacon Hoover Real Estate. Find us on there too. Guys, we have daily blogs. We have all kinds of audio coming your way. Sometimes we have video coming your way. We put a lot of our listings on our website, so please make sure you're hitting up those websites. We thank you for taking the time out to listen to this one. Coming up soon in a couple episodes, we're going to talk about repairs. We're going to talk about a lot of other things dealing with property management, mixed in with the other real estate investing tips that Alex brings to the table. So make sure you stay tuned for that. For Alex, the Deacon of Real Estate, Alex Deacon himself, for everyone here at DHRE, thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.